Sec. Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Farside TV with my co-host Jeremy Scipio.
What's going on, people?
And DJ Saurus from the Bay Area.
What up? What up? Good to be with y'all. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He had to pull off on the side of the road, you know what I'm saying? Trying to make it from point A to point B in that Bay traffic, you know what I'm saying? And it got real.
It did get real. I'm on a hot spot with a little car lighter power with a laptop. If y'all can see the setup, it's pretty comical, but there's some hip hop shit. That's what we do.
Hey man, if you could take some little baby records and throw them back and forth and do all that kind of stuff, man, I think this is you know what I'm saying? This is in the heavy feet what you got going on right here.
I mean, speaking of baby records, that's why I'm late, is because I was at the record shop digging for fucking wax. And pulled some 45s out of the crates. I was at my man Del Rox's shop in Hayward called The Stacks.
Oh man, if you come to LA, I can hook you up with a private digging session with my homeboy Spaceboy Boogie X, Andy from the Record Jungle.
Okay, word. Yeah. I usually link with Endo, and I'm gonna be out there next week at Newport Beach for a week, and then I'll be in Los Angeles for 2 days.
Oh man, I'll get you
Word up.
Yeah, I'll connect the dot on it.
You guys wanna should we see what I pulled today?
Yeah, we start with that.
This is just the 45 shit, not any other 12-inch shit, but let's see. I caught this Pharaoh Monch Simon Says 45.
All right.
It's the remix though. It has Red and Meth, Shabam Shadiq and Busta, which is kind of crazy. I've never seen that on 45. I got some heavy funk shit. This button down brass shit. It's a Stevie cover of Superstition, which is just some like heavy funk shit. Ninth Creation 45. Just gems, some funk, some I got doubles of this classic B-boy break, Chicken Yellow by Miami. I don't know if it's a classic.
Nah, if I heard it, I probably know.
Yeah, it's just things like I got that Raise It Up. I don't know if you fuck with Bacau Rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that Raise It Up 45.
Oh damn.
So I caught this Dilla fridge magnet too. This shit is pretty hot.
Oh wow.
Man. You should have made that trip down LA, man. My boy could have suited you and booted you, man.
I'm gonna be out there. I'll be digging with my man Newmark. I'll be out there at Beat Junkie Institute of Sound handling some biz. So
all good.
It's all love, man. It's all love. That's what we do out here.
So yeah, so basically I'm semi, connected to Saurus's whole little clique. You know what I'm saying? I know Platter and I know Ice Water, you know what I'm saying? Some guys that can probably cut and scratch pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Salute to Ice Water, man. The homie Rodney. I haven't heard that name in a minute. He used to work at Amoeba. Those were good days.
Yeah,
good
man.
Days in Berkeley, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my first experience to the Bay, man, going to Amoeba in Berkeley, man.
Classic.
Well, the thing is, I knew a lot of people that went up to the Bay and from LA, and then when they went to the Bay, they was like, "Oh man, we staying." You know what I'm saying? Like whatever.
Right.
And it's crazy because you just have that. And I've said every time we talk about the Bay, I say it. You have a crazy mix of culture where it's not so much limited to race, but you kind of have these holistic gangsters or vegan, it's
spiritual
like
gangsters.
They got the revolutionary part in them.
Yeah.
And then they got a little bit of the hood part in them.
I mean, that's Bay Area though, you know what I mean?
Nah,
that's some Black Panther shit. So
but the thing about it, it's not limited to black people. You got your Asian, you got your, you know, you get your Hispanic, you got everybody is just down for the whole little get down. So I, you know, I refer to it as Bay Area love, man. It's nothing like it. You know what I'm saying?
There really isn't. And you know, it's just in terms of out, you know, when during that time on Telegraph, we used to call it the Ave when when Icewater used to work at Amoeba. You know what I'm saying? The culture was, we were selling tapes on the Ave. We were caught Mystic Journeyman and High Rower out on the Ave, Hobo Junction. Like everything was new, everything was fresh. And hip hop at the time, like, you know, cats were slanging out. So we would go to the record shops. We'd be able to see all the folks on the street selling their tapes. You know, whether it was DJ mixtapes or artist shit, like that was a big part of the culture, from Vallejo, E40 slanging his shit, you know, out the trunk, you know, short 75 girl stuff. But then you talk about that's just part of that Bay Area independent hustle.
Yeah.
You know?
But I'm gonna have to spin the record back real quick though. Where were you the first time you heard hip hop, and what was the song?
Wow. That is a loaded question, and I could probably name a few different joints, but for me, my brother was very instrumental in introducing me to hip hop. He was making mixtapes with this other cat at school, pause mixes, and selling them. So I was probably at the crib with my brother. He introduced me to early on to things like Paris. The Devil Made Me Do It as a big, you know, joints like that. He Tribe, Native stuff, Black Sheep, like that. Those were things that I was hearing on his tape. So him and his homie Richie Pinelli.
Real quick, man.
Yeah.
Paris was one of my favorite rappers, man. But he was like a West Coast Public Enemy. Like he was on the same stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, I mean, Def Jam had the capacity to take a Public Enemy and kind of catapult them out into the atmosphere, you know. But Paris, they really wasn't gonna let him go too far, man. I mean, he did his thing though. He had a couple albums, but you know,
I feel like Paris was always slept on, very much so, in terms of the revolutionary content.
People didn't want to hear it, man.
You know, people wasn't trying to hear it, and I feel like because of what he was saying, he didn't get to the level that he should have gotten, because you think about Paris's voice and his cadence and his delivery, and I put him up there with like Rakim in terms of that cadence, like the smooth flow, the word. Like, to me, he had it all.
I'll say the Rakim part is a regional preference, but I say the Rakim part, but no, Paris is hard. If anybody watching, anybody listening, if you like X Clan, if you like Karis One, if you like let's see, X Clan, Karis One, Public Enemy, Paris had those funk beats. I'll even say he was like before Ice Cube and all that, with he was, check Paris, man.
Yeah, it was very much in the, you know, in the vein of the Bomb Squad sound. Yes. It was stuff that, you know, we were hearing on Cube and PE. He was taken from all of that stuff, and I was partial to that sound myself, because, you know, America's Most Wanted, like, you know, It Takes a Nation of Millions. Those are records that made big impact on me as a DJ early on. So just that sound, you know, the Shockley sound.
I'll tell you about the Shockley sound. You know why you don't hear those songs in movies and on soundtracks and all that kind of stuff?
No.
All right. We'll give Jeremy a pat for not knowing.
But Juice, you hear, I mean, you know,
a little bit, but no.
They were on soundtracks.
But they had too many samples. I don't even think all them samples was cleared, man.
Right.
The Bomb Squad was making songs. It'd be like 10 samples going crazy.
Right. And 3 of them are James Brown, and you know, a lot of hard to clear shit. So I get that.
Yeah, that was the, you know, because when you think about it, think about like 86, 87 up to about 94. Some labels did, some labels didn't. That's why, you know, Daylight ended up in their, you know, their situation where I guess they might have felt, don't quote me, but I think it was something like, you know, they felt that, because a lot of times the record labels would charge the artist for samples and you know, would take that from the budget and say, okay, we pulled this money to clear this sample or whatever, but they never clear the sample.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why De La has such a push and pull with their catalog.
Right.
Because
Paul was a little more posthumous in what he was sampling. He was sampling like cuttier shit, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's why NWA got a little further into the mainstream than PE, because Dre was bringing session musicians in to replay shit. He knew, you know what I'm saying? Like he would have bass players come in and do an interpolation of Let Me Ride, like instead of just straight sampling it.
But that
Like,
was even too, but that was even too far. Like I remember seeing Dre in it was some type of I don't want to say it was a documentary, but it was something where they had him on, like you could tell somebody had a VHS and they caught him, you know, he was talking to the camera and he was like, yeah, you know, I never sampled P-Funk, you know what I'm saying? But and he said something and I'm like, you might as well sample P-Funk, you know.
He can't say that.
I mean, he sampled the shit out of P-Funk.
I'm about to say he can't say that.
So, but what I'm saying is he took the sample and he chopped it, but then he had session players come in and lace it. So like, and I know where all that stuff was recorded in Record One. Like I've recorded there. I have homies that have recorded there. Like that was Dre's home base, was Record One back in the day.
I'll tell you something real quick before we get to the next question. I'm gonna tell you about a memory that I had. Dre, no longer with Death Row. In between starts Aftermath. And people wasn't really feeling Dr. Dre beats at that moment in time. Like it was really a moment in time before his whole Aftermath thing jumped off and he
and
the Eminems.
That's when he was trying to be a good rapper. He was trying to get away from all that. And then he dropped Crown in 2001. But yeah, you're right. Absolutely. He was
But to say that though, don't that sound crazy to be like, yo, there was a time when Dr. Dre where people really wasn't on him like that. I was almost like, dang, that's
right.
Matter of fact, that's when that song like I've been there, done that. You got goods. You remember that?
Oh
like,
man.
Yeah, that was.
It's hard because I've been on Dre since, you know, that sound, right? Since like middle school. And it was the same thing. Like if you ask West Coast people, they're more partial to like Dre production, as where East Coast people would maybe say Bomb Squad, right? It's a regional thing. To your point, like Bay folks might say Paris, or you know.
Hey, I tell you,
it really depends on where you're at the time and what influenced your style, you know.
I'll give you a producer from the West Coast that didn't really get any shine. From the Bay, Bosco. Yeah. He did a lot of E40 stuff.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And Ant Banks, you know what I'm saying?
That's that early mob shit, man. You know, that sound that put all the click on the map. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when did you first realize you had a passion for music?
Oh man, early on, I came from a musical family. My uncle is a songwriter, singer, keyboardist. But 4th grade, I started playing trombone. And then shortly thereafter was guitar and bass.
I played trombone too.
Word? Yeah.
5th grade, yep.
Yeah. I mean, I always wanted to play saxophone, but I never went back to do it. So that's a bucket list thing for me, is to go back, and because I'm a jazz head, you know, as a beat digger and a producer, like I'm heavily influenced by jazz. But then you know, once I got my first set of turntables, which is a whole story in that, it was pretty much game over for me. But it was like, yeah, I kind of knew that I was able to manipulate records. I kept my turntables at the foot of my bed. I would wake up at night and fiend for it, you know, like it was just. Do I have time to tell the story about how I got my turntables, or is that we need to get into the okay? So
sorry.
So yeah, I wrecked my car. It was my first car. I was 16 years old, and I got in a hit and run. We were like leaving a house party one night, and hit and run. My car got totaled, And instead of getting the insurance, I got the insurance check, but instead of getting a new car, I bought turntables out of the back of the Source from Upstairs Records. I got my first Scratchmaster kit. It was a Scratchmaster, BD10s, bell drive turntables, and a PMX, whatever the mixer was, the Scratchmaster mixer. That was my first setup. So that was 96. Yeah. 96 is when I got my first pair of decks. So once my homie gave me a crate. He was my mentor, Rakos One, rest in peace. He was a part of my crew, Ha crew. He gave me one of my first crates, and it had It Takes a Nation of Millions in it. So to bring it back to Bomb Squad, that was one of my first records. So I used to sit there and scratch. I had stereophonic sounds, and I would scratch the stereo sounds over Terminator X. I would do the Flash Gordon. Transforming. So I would practice to that PE record. I would really, just listen to stuff and practice and just try to emulate what I was hearing on wax.
So as far as I hear you say Sac, I know the Bay, but were you born in Sac or is Sac?
I was born and raised in Reno, Nevada.
Okay.
And I actually went to engineering school in Tempe, Arizona. But I always had a close connection to the Bay because even when early on in Reno, I was coming out to Oakland A's games. My parents were taking me to the Bay. I was coming to shows, hip hop shows out here. And from Arizona, I came to Oakland to do an internship for a label called Asphodel Records. You've heard of Mixmaster Mike, Scratch Pickles.
Yeah.
So Asphodel Records put out the early Executioner's record, Expressions, Rob Swift, The Ableist, Scratch Pickles' first record. So I came to work in the city for this record label and studio, and I helped them build an analog Neve board and a room out here in Frisco. But I lived in Oakland. I had my hip hop crew, Unified School District, was in Oakland at the time. So I lived in the East Bay. So I went from Reno to Arizona to the Bay, and I landed in Oakland, and I was in Oakland for 21 years before I just moved to Sac a year ago. I bought a house in Sac. So I still work in the Bay. My office is in Oakland. I work for a nonprofit called Hip Hop for Change. I'm the event director. So, I'm back and forth a lot, as today can prove. Sitting in my car, going from Oakland to Sac. So, I've been on this slice of the West Coast for most of my life, but between Reno and the Bay for the most part.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what's your favorite hip hop movie?
My favorite hip hop movie, I always say, is a tie between Disorderlies, Fat Boys Disorderlies, and Run DMC Tougher Than Leather, because my mom brought me to a movie with her when I was I think I was 9 or 10. And I was supposed to go see A Fish Called Wanda with her, but she let me go into the other theater to see Tougher Than Leather, to see the Run DMC movie. So that, just seeing Tougher Than Leather, seeing hip hop in Hollywood like that, had a huge impact on me. Plus, I had tickets to the Run DMC, to the Houdini tour. It was Run DMC, Houdini, Jazzy Jeff. And there's a whole other story behind why I couldn't go to that. But I had tickets. I was a fan of Run early on. Run DMC was a big influence, Suck MCs, and, had all the tapes growing up. So I would say if I had to pick, it would be Run DMC, Tougher Than Leather. But Disorderlies is a close second because, as a big guy,
at this. I'm what is this? I never heard this before.
Dude, as a big guy, Fat Boys were representing for us big guys.
Man.
And hip hop at the time, you just didn't see dudes that big rocking those kind of outfits, those kind of chains. They were just,
dude, that's crazy. I totally forgot about Disorderlies other than the fact I felt it was some high level buffoonery going on.
It was buffoonery.
But it was hip hop in Hollywood.
It was hip hop in Hollywood, man.
The forerunner of hip hop.
You know, someone might come to that question and be like Wild Style or Star Wars and give you a stock answer, but I'm not that guy.
No, I like that. That's a good one.
Nah, I'll take that. So you went to junior high school, what city?
Junior high and high school were in Reno.
Okay, Reno. Okay, so you're junior high school cat going to junior high. No, mullet, short and flat on top, long and shaggy in the back.
Not at all. African medallion, getting looked at crazy by black dudes because I was wearing an African because that's what I saw. That's what I wanted to emulate. Like I started DJing school dances in 7th grade, bro. Like pause mixes, like
the culture. Dude, let me tell you something, man. Hip hop is so powerful, man. Like
100%.
Like it's definitely the world ambassador. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. So okay, so it has
become that. When I started doing it, it was still not the cool thing to do by any means. It has now become an ambassador and a $1 billion global industry. But back then, man, like I was getting my tapes taken away at school. You know, Life Is by Too Short, As Nasty As They Want to Be, fucking Straight Outta Compton. Like I've been, like I said, doing hip hop since 6th, 7th grade. So,
so in junior high, what was the soundtrack? What was the
soundtrack?
If you had a Walkman, if you had whatever, and don't keep it limited to hip hop. Like what was going on?
It was for sure the Walkman. It was but it was a mix of like New Jack Swing shit. Like you would hear the Teddy Riley sound. Like there might be some Bobby Brown, some BBD, but then so that was the stuff at the dances. Mm-hmm. But then the stuff that we were rocking was like, you know, everything from King T to Tribe to, I mean, I was buying vinyl at the time too. I was buying MC Shan records. You know what I mean? So like I was collecting wax early on, like going over to Park Lane Mall to spending lunch money on records and copping like Kid Sensation records, Shan records, like 45s. But we started DJing parties with tape decks. So before we even had wax, we would take dual tape decks. We would have our cues on a sheet. We would do house party because the mobile DJ thing was it. So we would do garage parties, you know, school dances. We call them sock hops. You know, I'm old, so it was a mixture. You'd hear like the R&B shit, you'd hear the hip hop shit, but we were partial to the hip hop tape, so that's what we would play.
Real quick, and this little bit of history, man. You glazed past something so fast. First of all, King T, one of the hardest album covers ever, wearing a Pendleton with the khakis and the house shoes, I think he was dragging a shotgun on the ground, or he had the shotgun hanging down. But we got to give some props to DJ Pooh, man. I believe he produced several cuts on that album.
Oh, absolutely. Pooh is a West Coast legend that doesn't get talked about enough.
Act a Fool, you know,
Act a Fool. Bass was the first tape that I got.
Okay.
But you know, I mean, there's so many. Funky Piano.
Yeah.
Like
and then Pooh, he used to do the St. Ives commercials. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He used to produce those, but something that Pooh did recently that a lot of people don't know, he was part of that last Grand Theft Auto with Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But that was like a whole nother, you know what I'm saying?
That's a whole nother layer for him, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And to tell you how big like the video game space is in Grand Theft Auto, I remember watching an interview with Slash from Guns N' Roses, and they were talking to him about, you know, when the group wasn't performing and he wasn't dealing with them, and he was like, well, you know, I started doing different things, and you know, I had no idea there was this whole video game culture and all this stuff and whatever. And it's like, you know, because he was Guitar Hero, like he was the first one, so that.
Right.
I'm not going to say that blew him up bigger than Guns N' Roses, but it blew him up as a solo person just as big as Guns N' Roses.
Right. And now video game licensing is huge. You got all these rappers in, but also a lot of dope underground folks in GTA. You got Oh No and Action and a bunch of dope shit too. So I think Oh No and Alchemist produced the whole soundtrack to one of the GTAs, right?
Oh man, I'm a nerd.
If so, it might have been the first, well, the third one.
I think they had a hand in the executive production or something like that.
I know for me, I was introduced to a lot of artists through this, and I'm pretty sure they could break new artists today, underground hip hop. But I kind of missed that, like Grand Theft Auto 3. That's how I first found out about Royce da 5'9" and who was it? It was Aguilar, who was
Adolf.
Man, it was so many I knew that whole soundtrack just because you're just playing the game and you could put it on radio or whatever. But now it's just like everything else. It kind of went pop. So
right.
I don't know.
You're right though. It was a time when records were broke through things like that, like video games, and even like skateboard videos. People don't talk about it enough. Like you talk about early skate videos where FTC videos were breaking Hyro shit, and Dell did the cover for he drew the cover for the FTC Finally video.
What?
There's a lot of records that were in hip hop videos. Like I think the first time I heard what was it, Funky Child, the leadership or Lords. I heard hella hip hop songs in skate videos. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a way to break music to get it to other audiences. So
yeah, it defines a time period too. It's kind of weird in that way. If you had to create an elective or a class, what would it be?
Sorry, say that question again. I didn't hear it.
It's all good. If you had to create an elective or a class, what would it be?
An elective or a class? Well, I have created a whole hip hop curriculum.
Oh, well,
called Digital Sound Arts. And I wrote that when I stopped audio engineering. I actually started teaching, and that was a curriculum dedicated to beat making and hip hop history and everything from like songwriting to recording to beat production. And I taught that in San Francisco for about 6 years at San Francisco rec centers and public schools. And now my man Max Kane, 41 Funk, shout out Max Kane, teaches it. But I brought him in to teach it for me when I stopped teaching. But I co-wrote a curriculum for Hip Hop for Change, the company that I work for now, along with our education director, Unlearn the World, who's an artist. He's a dope MC that I produce and DJ for. So yeah, it would definitely have to do with hip hop because I'm deeply rooted in hip hop. So, it would have to do with DJing and production. If I had to create a class, that would be it.
So coming from Nevada, who were some of the MCs or DJs that came up out of where you were in Nevada?
It's a good question, and something that doesn't get talked about enough is there was a crew called Negative Element, who were the homies, my boy Dialect, HD, and DJ Ethic. They toured with Digital back in the day. Like they were very close to Digital, to DJ Fuse and to Shock, and they did a lot of tours. So Negative Element was a Reno crew. They toured regionally. There was also Unified School District, which was my crew, which was Super Ugly, DJ Ecto One, and myself. We had a hip hop crew that actually ended up in the Bay in Oakland and flourished there for many years. We released records on Fat Beats. We did a record on Fat Beats with Declaim. We had a distro deal with Fat Beats. So yeah, there was not a whole lot of crews, but the crews that did come out of Reno transplanted to other areas and grew roots in other areas like the Bay Area or Los Angeles.
And real quick, man, we got to give a rest in peace out to Shock G, man.
Absolutely.
That was a good dude, man.
Yeah.
He was a wild boy, but his heart was big as the world, man.
Yeah.
Big as the world.
Shout out to the whole DU fam, man. That's DJ Fuse's family, Mystica's family. Those are all folks of mine. So You know, they just did the tribute party out here. They did another one in Atlanta. And my boy Steven Anderson just did a mural that had like it had Zumbi, Gift of Gab, Shock G.
Oh wow!
All the fallen soldiers in the last couple of years. They just unveiled this mural last Saturday in Oakland, and the homie Latif, the true speaker from Quantum.
Yeah.
He hosted our event. We did a big show with D Smoke and Saw Rock and Soul Development last Saturday. But Latif hosted our event. He was supposed to be at the mural unveiling. But
oh wow!
Yeah. So shout out. I mean, obviously, shout out to the whole DU family. But rest in peace to Shock G, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Shock G. I think he came up last week too.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of your first DJ group?
The first DJ crew was Tables of Content.
I like that.
Which was a crew. I actually started DJing in bars and clubs when I was 18, like before I could even get in. It was a crew that we formed as a part of this night, Blue Lamp, which was the only underground hip hop night in Reno at the time. It was myself and these dudes, .com and Buddha, who still do a syndicated hip hop show called The Bomb Shelter to this day. Bomb Shelter Radio is their thing. It's still in Reno. So we started out together, Tables of Content, and then morphed into another crew called Sign Language with my man Ecto One. But Tables of Content was the first crew.
I like
man, man, shame on me. I got a mixer and I had it at my office today, and it was a little dusty. And my Brown came through, and he looked, and he was just like, and I had it off over in the corner on top of this thing, and I knew it was a little dusty, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take it home because I had it in the warehouse because I had it in the back of one of my other cars, and he was like, man, come on, man, you just got it. It ain't even, you know what I'm saying? You just got it right there. But I say that as a segue to lead into Jeremy, you just being a person that loves hip hop culture and everything. What would you say is one of the most difficult parts of being a DJ? What would you think?
Me? What I think?
Yeah.
Oh, having the right equipment. I think just
let me tell you something that these other DJs, these DJs of the day don't know about. Dude, before Serato, that's how I got on. You had to carry records, man, record crates. Yeah. That's how Nick Cannon got on with Biz Markie. Nick Cannon used to carry Biz Marquie's records.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Carrying crates was the worst, man.
We used to carry 4 crates, 1 coffin in the back of my caddy. I had a 78 Coupe de Ville named Al Green. It was a green coupe, and it was a coffin and crates. It was, that's how we crates and a dolly,
Man.
There wasn't no backpack shit back in the day. It was all crates. If you wanted to rock a party, you had to have at least 4 to 6 crates.
I got a good question for you. So with everything being on MP3 right now, can you really tell the difference between an MP3 and something coming off of wax?
I can, but my ears are highly advanced. I could hear a mouse fart. So it really depends on the listener.
I ain't never heard that one.
I think it depends on the listener, but I think like yes is absolutely yes. Even if you have a high quality MP3, there's still a some people call it color, some people call it warmth. I don't know about all that shit, but there's a grittiness to vinyl that can't be emulated in an MP3 unless you add that pop and hiss to the MP3. I call it that grit. It's just that grit, it's that funk, it's that pocket that MP3s are just a little too clean in my opinion, but that's me.
So when you were in high school, senior year, graduation is coming up. I barely walked the stage. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't walk the stage.
That's why I said that. I wasn't looking at you like you didn't, man. But I was just saying if you didn't, man, I was almost there with you. But I was able to, be at the festivities. So when you're in high school, senior year, what did you think was going to be your path once the senior year was over?
Oof. I wasn't thinking that far, man. I was a fucking graffiti writer, skateboarder, and I was just about smoking weed and fucking bitches. That's it.
Hip hop blew your mind, man.
I mean, honestly, it was that. It was hip hop records and tapes, skateboard. It was like that's as far as I was thinking. I didn't know what I wanted to be. You know, the DJ bug bit me because I was hearing mixtapes from cats like, you know, J-Rock and Rhett, you know, Junkies and Mixmaster Mike, like Music's Worst Nightmare. I worked at a record store in Reno. It was a DJ supply store called Planet DJ. And I was ordering all the records for Planet DJ through distributors like Fat Beats, Caroline, TRC, which was a Bay Area distributor.
Yeah, I remember TRC.
You know what I'm saying? And I was breaking records in Reno. So I was ordering mixtapes, whether it was beat tapes like Khan and Amir, you know, or like Scratch Pickles, all the Pumpkin Squeeze, all the ISP tapes, or even like Mystic Journeyman and Hyro. Like my crew was close to the whole Living Legends through a connection because our crew stayed down the hall in Oakland when Mystic Journeyman and Living Legends lived in the Outhouse, which is a legendary era in underground hip hop. Our crew, Ha crew, lived down the hall in the Ha Mansion. So we had a connection to Mystic Journeyman and Living Legends. So we were bringing 4-track tapes back to Reno, breaking, you know, all the Bay shit in Reno. So yeah.
How do you feel like the art of DJ has evolved? Sorry, the art of DJing has evolved.
I think it's evolved in both good and bad ways. I think it's a gift and a curse because you have technology which is enabled DJs to do a lot of dope shit, like even Serato, Q Points. It's allowed us to push the boundaries, but then again, it's also given accessibility for everyone to do it. I was just joking with my homegirl, Lady Ryan, over the weekend at our show about like fail at life, become a DJ, because I just feel like everybody becomes a DJ nowadays out of just necessity of they feel like it's a way to make money or a way to garner popularity. And really it has, to me, as an old school hip hop head, DJing is a kind of a popularity contest nowadays. You have people that get a fucking iPad with the DJ Pro software and can call themselves a DJ, but like we had to pay dues. We had to like hang out at record shops and read fucking liner notes and pre-internet shit. So it's given, and this could be a whole podcast on its own. It's given the accessibility to the suckers to do it. And for me and from my crew, the cats that cut our teeth on the real DJ culture. I was telling someone the other day, like we stayed in the house for 5 years before we came out. Like we practiced our shit before we went out the house to do it. Like nowadays motherfuckers are getting a controller and a record pool subscription and going out to do a gig when they don't have the understanding of, you know, how to flow through genres. And for me, like, I'm a diverse DJ. I don't just play hip hop. I play dance hall. I play reggaeton. I play Afro beats. I play remixes. And to your question, like that's where technology is dope to me, because it's afforded us the luxury to do even crazier shit, to where like now we can do remixes by putting acapellas with instrumentals we never used to be able to do. We can do shit in Ableton where we're like playing an acapella in a different key to put it to a beat it's out of control now, right? There's shit that we never imagined was possible, but it's in the hands of some suckers that are taking it for granted. And there's still a lot of real shit. There's still a lot of real people putting on for the culture. And I see young kids coming up that are dope. You know, I see women that are killing it. I see a lot of shit that inspires me, but I see an equal amount of shit that makes me sick to my stomach. because, you know, motherfuckers just want to be an overnight success.
Tell them how you really feel.
Shout out to Foreign Legion, my man Mark Stretch. He's one half of my crew heavyweight crates. They had a song called Overnight Success.
Okay.
You know,
was a classic record.
I'm not gonna say I have a low bar when it comes to you know what I like in a DJ, but I DJed for a while. I was kind of ushered in under the belt of some homies that was on a hell of a label, and when they was getting jocked at the most highest level of whatever. So I could do a little something with the turntable. So I guess to kind of appease them, I was thrown in the Hollywood clubs and whatnot. Didn't really screw up nothing too bad, but for me, cutting, scratching, blending, that's a cool DJ. But
that's
a
the
DJ,
foundation, man.
A DJ, he could drop a cut, man, and he knows when to drop that cut. You know what I'm saying? And he's gonna drop some shit that, you know what I'm saying, you ain't heard, or if you have heard, it's kind of been through someone who was very obscure or something like that. And that's what I kind of miss. Like, I'm not really too motivated to go out and listen. Like, I like going out to listen to DJs was like super my thing before COVID. And then COVID happened. And then my thing was, well, if you're gonna go out and check somebody, don't just do it to just be go to see a DJ who you feel, you know what I'm saying, and who you like. So it hasn't been anybody to just like really oh, you know what? I was not disappointed when I went out to Wonderful and Spinner did his thing with the whole Stevie
man.
Yeah, with the whole Stevie Wonder and the Wonderful thing.
Was that the Wonderful in the Park one recently? Yeah. Mona Lisa was on that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the homie Mona.
And I'm gonna tell you something funny about Mona Lisa. Like, dude, she does not get her props, man.
Oh, she don't play.
But even before DJing, Mona was working for Loud Records. Mona knew Wu-Tang before anybody knew about
She was breaking artists.
Yeah,
real
Fat Joe, Exhibit. You know what I'm saying? All that thing. I'm
Artifacts.
Yep. I'm gonna get Mona on here, and then it was weird for me to see Mona DJ. It's almost like having a little sister, and she's not your blood sister, but she's a little sister. And then you see people looking at her booty or something, like, you like, fool, you know what I'm saying? With Mona, it was weird for me to see her DJ and really rock the fuck up out of a club, and had it was a Prince and Michael Jackson party, and she was playing Prince and Michael Jackson, and she had like from age like 22 to age 60 singing Michael Jackson and Prince, and I was just like, damn, that's the homegirl.
Mona is just a certified legend, especially, you know, the real cats that know about her.
Wow,
they know that she's big sis. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, you know,
you just did Boombox recently with the homie Inca. She was out there. I mean, that's LA royalty right there. You can't say enough about her, but she definitely doesn't get her props. But she's also like super fucking humble, and that's another thing that, you know, you have a lot of DJs that don't talk about themselves being DJs. And those are the cats that I really respect, because it's the motherfuckers who are too loud on social media talking they shit that really, you know, when it comes down to skills, like I'm with DJ Revolution, like skills over everything, man. Skills. What?
No, but I was gonna say, but isn't that with anything? But ain't that with anything though? Whoever's the loudest in the room is the biggest sucker ever, man.
I mean, yeah.
Whoever got
I always say I have the most to learn from the quietest person in the room.
Yeah.
You know, there's a Rumi quote. I can't think of it right now, but it's like what is the one? I'll think of it. But there's something to that effect where it's like the humble magnificent, right? It's the cat that doesn't talk about it, that just can fuck. You know, it's the ninja, right? It's the dude who does it, who will just fucking slice you and take you out, that doesn't need to talk about it in your face.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with DJing. There's motherfuckers that are nice, that no one knows about, that'll just annihilate a party. Or to your point, when it comes to timing of dropping a record, like that to me is the mark of a true DJ. They can play something you didn't know you wanted to hear,
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I have in my bio is I feel like I always try to put people on to something that they haven't heard and make them dance, because it's easy to drop a Drake record or it's easy to drop a classic that motherfuckers will just, but if you play like a Latin or a boogie or something that no one's heard and they still rock, then that's doing your job. To me, a real DJ is moving a crowd to something that people didn't know they wanted to hear.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna say there's a lot of similarities when it comes to just art in general, because I've not only played music, also paint, draw, sculpt, and I do stand-up comedy or whatever. And with comedy, a lot of things you're saying as far as like the way social media hit with comics, and now everybody used to have to go out and grind and earn that title.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now if you got a social media page, the power is to the editors. You know what I mean? Less than the actual people who develop that comedic skill. It's more about your timing and editing. But then these people come out into the world, because that's the only way to evolve your craft is you can amass these followers or whatever, these advertisements, but then people are like, I want to see you live. So you go see you live, and you don't have that because they haven't amassed that skill. And even to the point you said, making people groove to something they wasn't expecting to. Kind of similar with comedy. Like I get more of a kick out of making people laugh at. That's what I say. I'm the ruler. People always tell you what makes them laugh. Like, man, I like this type of comedy. It's like, pepper makes you sneeze. You not allergic to pepper. Like I did that to you. You know what I'm saying? You can't go, oh, I like this pepper over this pepper. Like, I made you sneeze, bro. It's involuntary. Laughter is involuntary. Like, I gave you that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel like when it comes to comedy, it's like, I don't care. People always got suggestions. I don't care about your suggestions. Like, this is what I'm like the doctor. I subscribe it.
It's like a request. It's the same shit, right?
Yeah. And it's like
hearing a request, someone requesting a song. Or better yet, putting their phone in your face to request a song, which is the new fad, the new trend.
Like it's like, yo, you got the ox. That's the I know they get to like, let me get the ox.
Right, but it's like, it's moving a crowd, right? It's the same as controlling a room with comedy is probably very similar to controlling the crowd. Like, you have to know when to hit that punchline at the right time. Like, you have to know what record to drop at the right time.
Yeah,
it's very similar in that way.
Not only is it similar, there's a point where there's a few things you said where you just was like, man, you said my ear is highly advanced. You know what I'm saying?
Jay.
That's the skill where it's like, it's the 10,000 hours you put in to where it's like, I'm sorry, I can't even. We're not in the same like stratosphere. So for me to even explain to you at that point, it's like you gotta go through. I'd rather just hand you your first crate. I'd rather just start you from scratch, and then you can relate to me later. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to connect with those people. This is another thing you said too. I liked. You said, dang, something about giving the stereotypical answers and stuff. I can't remember exactly what you said. You was just like, getting more of a real answer.
I mean, hip hop is very broad and life in general, but I find like people can look up the Ego Trip and book a rap list, and they can see like, Wild Style and
Style.
And those are the answers that I hear a lot, and it's okay.
That's the answers we hear all the time. No,
and it's okay. Like, I get it, but I'm not that guy. Like, I
love that.
I move different. I think different, and I'm just on a whole nother wave. So
that's when people ask me, what's my favorite comedian? That's one of the most boring questions on the planet, because it's going to sound like your list as well. It's like,
but you probably have some cats that we ain't even heard of that hit hard.
But then that's how you end the conversation fast.
Right.
They be like, I never heard of him.
Well, now I gotta ask, because I like comedy too, and I like underground cats like Tony. Well, Tony Baker is a favorite of mine. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's underground anymore, but
I'm biased because one, the answer is always gonna be me. Also, I kind of came up, with Tony I mean, he had been doing it 6 years before me, but that's one of my comedy big brothers, and he's put me on and taken care of me. So absolutely great.
Who was the dude that just passed away recently? The big dude?
Teddy Ray, that's one of my brothers as well.
Yeah.
We all
One
used
of
to
my
grind.
homegirls put me on to him, and I wasn't hip to him, but I just got hip.
Yeah, that's one of my man. These, we all knew each other. Well, Tony already had some stuff going, but Teddy, I knew when he didn't really have much going. You know what I mean? Like this place we used to work out at called Marty's. And yeah, it's just like, I don't want to say it's a party, everybody got their like, their place where they just grind, whatever. But you had, celebrities rolling through, as well as like open, the most basic of open micers. That's why I met Marlon Wayans. And yeah, Teddy, he was a natural. That's what I like about him. He didn't have to force it.
Not at all, dude.
You guys are both in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Whereabouts are y'all?
I'm North Hollywood.
Okay.
San Pedro.
Well,
Harbor City.
I'm gonna be up in that hood. My best friend lives in Los Feliz, so I'll be up there.
Oh, yeah, that's
like
down the
the,
street.
like the
Yeah,
second
that's
through
close,
the second through the fourth. I'll be chilling with some fams out there. So
Come to the Comedy Store. I'll be there one of these days, but definitely like the second or third or something.
Yeah,
like
I'll link you guys so you can connect. Nah, man, Jeremy's he's a pretty funny comedian, man.
Yeah.
Word up.
I can say that, man. I've never been disappointed, man. I've never been. And you know the interesting thing, the shows that he's on, there's some decent like the last show that he did, and I'm gonna move on, but last show he did, I really felt you got a lot for the dollar, man. Like, because all the comedians were funny. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's just
he's like Jeremy. You're good now.
No, it's not that. It's just
you've come a long way. No, I'm just playing.
No, I look at it like that's such a businessman. He's he's a manager, so that's of course a manager looking like, man, that's a bang for a buck. Like,
hey,
but it's the truth though. Long Beach Laugh Factory, it's one of those hidden gems because it's this huge place that never truly gets filled up, and they send in the Hollywood comics down there to work out. So you're getting 20 in Hollywood. These people would get like 5 and 10, and Long Beach you're getting 20s, and I'm getting 20s to work out. So that's why I like it.
Nah, that's
so
dope.
you said Comedy Store is the other one.
Yeah, Comedy Store. Because I just say I'm there the most, and Los Feliz. You riding up Sunset, you gonna hit right there. Yeah.
Word. All right, I'll peep game.
Yeah. So tell me this: how did you become like one of these 45 guys? And I don't mean 45 guy by like part of a crew or something like that, but I'm saying somebody that's just like a dude that's like, okay, man, LPs are cool, singles are cool, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get this little baby record that's like a baby record single. And you have to have an adapter for most of them. You have to have an adapter for them. Like, what made you gravitate towards a 45?
I mean, honestly, man, it had to do with space for me because Bay Area living, you're not dealing with a lot of space, and you're dealing with a big expense. Bay Area is expensive, and at a certain point, I was sitting on a lot of records at the crib, like. My LP and my 12 collection was like 10,000 deep, give or take. And it was a space thing for me to where, when I linked with Plattern, like we had already been doing stuff together, but he actually started the 45 Sessions party, which was the first 7-inch party. At the time, people weren't on 7 inches like that, like they are now. And it attracted me not only because it was dope DJ shit and I was already rocking with Plattern, but like I said, for me, it was about these records take up less space than 12 inches. And also then as I started going to 45 Sessions, he had like Z Trip and he would have dope guests early on, but rocking with them more. And then fast forward to years later and I'm a part of the crew, an official member of 45 Sessions. So I got down with the crew like probably like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was during High Road Day weekend when we were doing an event that he actually put me in the crew. But I've been doing parties with Plattern for 10 plus years, we've been rocking together. But yeah, I was rocking parties with Oakland Faders. I was in another crew and had another thing called Fader Moves, which was my own shit. But we lived in the same neighborhood in North Oakland. We were in Temescal, and we got close through records, like through beat digging, like the crew, 45 Sessions crew, like Ida Boss, you know, Anki, 41 Funk crew, Max Kane, Tico. These are dudes that I met early on in the Bay that I started rocking with that had a big impact on me musically, as record diggers, as producers. And then, yeah, like now we throw parties together, and that's kind of what I do for my job. I'm an event director. I do big shows for my organization. Like we just did our environmental justice summit this last weekend, which was a free event in San Francisco festival. Like I said, we had D Smoke and Cy Rock and Soul Development and DJ Shortcut from B Junkies, Scratch Pickles, Triple Threat, Lady Ryan. We put on a lot of local artists. We pay local artists a living wage. But yeah, I mean, 45s are dope. That the game is a little out of control nowadays in terms of like expense. Like things that you used to be able to cop because everyone wants 45s, it's gotten way more expensive, and things have gotten way more rare. But there's also like dope DJs putting out really good 45s. So like the edit game is crazy with 45. Like you have a lot of homies dropping stuff on Bandcamp. Like DJ AL is an example. Like he's my homie from Colorado. You know, he's from Denver. He was out in the Bay for a while, but he drops a bunch of dope edits, and he sells the 45s on his Bandcamp, as a lot of DJs do. And that's how we support each other, is through each other's music. And there's a lot of real dope edits that are coming out, like remixes, edits, to where you don't have to buy the original pressings. Like, for example, he just did an edit of Gangstar Dwick, which has like a broken down acapella part. You know, and it's like lemonade was a popular drink, and he broke out that section to where, you know, that's the craziest thing about these new software programs, is we're able to do remixes. We're able to drop edits like that where the acapella is for 4 bars. Back in the day, you had to have the 12-inch and you had to do it on record, but now you can actually do it in a software program and make the record like with stems. Like the stem technology is getting crazy.
Yeah.
Like I use a program called X Stems, which is just a plugin, but that's how I do a lot of my edits. I have a Rakim one that's like a Rakim Beat Nuts joint that I'm dropping. It's like a b-boy edit called it's called Don't Sweat the Dough. It's like a Let's Get Dough, Don't Sweat the Technique edit, where I took the Rakim acapella and put it over the Beat Nuts. So, you know, goes back to that technology component of like, we're able to do a lot more ill shit now. And DJs are pushing those creative boundaries to do real ill shit. But yeah, 45s are just 45s are dope, man. It's a mark of a dope DJ to be able to play a 45 set, because it requires more dexterity. You know, you can't scratch 45s like you can 12 inches. It takes a lot more hand control to get really technical on 45. So when I look at DJs like Shortcut or Scratch Bastard, or, you know, who else that's dope on like Coco from Japan, like some of these cats that are just doing crazy shit with 45s, it blows my mind, because I know how technical that is to get busy on 7-inch records. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like rocking Serato records. It takes a higher caliber and a higher level of skill and technical ability to rock 45s. So it's just what it is.
So okay. That's on me. What's the best advice anyone has ever given you?
Ooh. You know, I had a teacher in school. He was his name was Jerry Fiembres. He was an audio engineer and a producer. He actually engineered the Skilo record. I wish I was a little bit tall.
Oh wow.
The baller record for Skilo.
Yeah.
He gave me some dope advice about just work ethic, and I think, you know, just I needed to hear it early on. It was about being on time. He said, what was it? Early is on time is late, and late is fired.
Oh.
So that always stuck with me. And I tell youngsters that today. I have like a staff member that I manage, and it requires, for events, it requires showing up on time. So I always tell her, like, we work on Zoom, we work remote a lot, but when it comes to actual in-person shit, like, I always have prided myself on my level of professionalism. And so it's like showing up on time. And, with DJs, we show up early and we leave after everyone is gone. So we're not, it's a behind the scenes thing. It's become a I want the props thing. But back when I started, it was a show up early, leave late, not get the props thing. It was just some shit that we did because we loved it. Nowadays, people want these likes, they want these follows, and that is compromising the culture. You feel me?
Yeah, wow.
Everybody want to be D-Nice, man. Well, D-Nice during quarantine. You know what I'm saying? They want to be whatever. And it was interesting to me because I saw a lot. So when it first jumped off and D-Nice started doing this thing, I saw a lot of DJs go after him, man. Fools hating. They were like, man, why is he allowed to play samples and we aren't allowed to play samples? And he's not da 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 da, and he's not da 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 da. And I would say out of three DJs I saw lose their mind, two of them ended up jocking him and getting down with the program a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But shit, man.
Well, shout out to D-Nice, because he did do his thing, and he found a wiggle to get that music heard. But
dude,
but also Twitch created a new lane, right? Like,
it
allowed us to keep rocking and keep tapping in with our core audiences and give them something that it was inspiring, and it was a learning experience for us when COVID hit. Like, we all had to figure out how to stream, and only a couple heads that I knew were doing it at the time, and it really, I think it created a whole nother lane of DJing.
Yeah, Shortcut and Fran Boogie, man. They that was who I, that's kind of who I tapped into, like, real early. I'll say we saw the coming and the going of the Boom Bap kids. I don't know if they gone, but I'm saying we
haven't seen anything for a while. But yeah, Cutso, the fam from San Jose, is part of Boom Bap Kids.
Okay. That was they were when it was hot, they was hotter than Kion.
Yeah, man. I think Shortcut was my favorite streams also. And then we did some dope 45 session ones. We had Cash Money on 45 sessions. We had Rhett Matic on a sessions, which was dope. I was on that one. I DJ'd that show. Yeah, there was some ill shit, man. Like, there still is, but it's kind of calmed down a little bit. Shortcut just rocked our event on Saturday with these B-boys live. He always bodies it, but
effortless.
That guy, he's one of my big bros. He's one of my biggest inspirations as a DJ, but just to still see him like as active as ever and just killing it. And like, it is it's like he's on a beach in Hawaii, bro. Like, he doesn't he's so clean, man. So clean. His musical knowledge is so highly advanced. His records. That's another thing about Short, is he doesn't fuck around with, like, he's a digger. And when it comes to the 45s, he goes crazy. Like,
no, he's one of those guys that I look at and I'm like, he could stop this whole party and nobody would be mad because they stopped dancing, and he could just drop some shit or mix some shit and cut some shit. Like, he's one of those cats. He really holds back, man. He's great, but he don't get loose. Like he'll get loose at like some super hip hop, whatever, and he'll let him go for a little bit.
Nah,
but he floors it in second gear.
Yo, when he does go crazy, when he gets to that higher gear, you know that you're witnessing something special. He's considered by some of the best DJs as one of the best vinyl DJs. And that's that's well deserved because it's very true. Like he can still kill with Serato, but to see him rock 45s is something special. You know, when you see him do that, it's just magical, man. That's big, bro. That's I love that guy. You know, he's like I said, he's one of my biggest inspirations. So
I don't know if you've seen they have this artificial intelligent rapper named FN Mecca. Have you heard of that? Or Mika?
nah.
Pretty much it's they just signed him to a record deal. It's pretty much like they, you know, there's a AI robot that's been studying what we're into, what's moving the needle, and they came up with a body for it. It's pretty much he was the next dude that was gonna be what 6ix9ine was, but now, and this dude they signed him signed a record deal to Capitol Records.
And he's an AI robot.
He's a robot person. he can rap.
That just signed a deal.
And he's
wow.
clearly white, and he uses the word nigga profusely.
Oh no.
Hey, if Anonymous was to ever have a candidate to go in and do whatever they do, they do,
that is wrong on so many levels.
Anonymous, if Anonymous has ever wanted to do something, man, that sounds like a great candidate. One of their lower level hackers to get in and put an end to that stuff.
But see, this is the thing. This is the thing about this type of stuff. It dies if we don't rock to it. But if people start rocking to it,
it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
You have to actively deny, and this thing is designed to rock to. So you have to actively say this music is trash.
I need to go tell whatever algorithm right now that shit is trash.
Nah, man.
How do I hit the unlike on that one real quick?
We need for Anonymous's high tech cookies and whatever they got to hear us say Anonymous need to handle this, and they need to go in and you know, put an end to that.
Don't let motherfuckers think that just because they're a robot they're gonna get away with saying the N-word, because they still need to get stomped in those virtual streets.
Man, this is like we've seen this movie before though. He'll just have another copy.
another
copy. It's it's in the music.
That is the wildest shit I've heard all day, I think.
I actually was wondering what you would think about it, because I was just like, oh, this seems like a real authentic hip hop dude. I know he'll love this.
Well, also the company that I work for, the organization, we do a lot of like grassroots activism and social justice work around ending white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm also very passionate about that topic and, you know, the activism work that we do around that topic. So, you know, just a lot of the shows we do are to give, you know, resources and platforms to underserved, marginalized people of color and communities that don't have the resources. So it's a big deal.
We got one more question, but I got a question that I want to ask you before we hit with the one more question.
Yes, sir.
I was in the Tenderloin. And like David Chappelle. Like David
Hey,
Chappelle
that's how you
said,
start the question.
Yeah. Like David Chappelle said, ain't nothing tender about that mud. You know what I'm saying? Nothing tender. You know what I'm saying?
Hell no, it ain't, man.
About that. So this is when I could say that I probably had like an adult, young adult, but adult, like I was in my 30s, like moment. And so I found a hotel, a dope hotel that was in the middle of the Tenderloin, but it was, you know, it wasn't that expensive.
Was there hookers outside?
Hell yeah, man. Look,
there was a crackhead and some hookers.
That's all part of the story.
Dope hotel or not.
Before you finish, I stayed there. Let me tell you, me and the homie, we was walking through, and you just see like smoke, smoke filling the air like it's a movie scene. But then my friend was like, He said, "Don't inhale that."
Crack smoke like a mug, man.
It was a dope blue fog. It looked like it was like a movie set.
Yeah.
You don't want that secondhand smoke.
So my question to you, so I was walking from the hotel I think I was going to get something to eat or something like that. And there was two guys walking in front of me, and one was he was sniffing some powder while he was walking off of a like a dollar bill, and the other one was smoking a blunt. And then some police officers walked from behind me, and they just like walked around the people doing drugs and smoking a blunt, like they wouldn't even trip. So my question to you is, what is it about that made the police not even trip on like what was going on?
I mean, number one, it's the tenderloin.
Okay, so
number two, like they're
lawlessness.
They're not really tripping on no small petty shit like that. Like unless they saw someone sniff something, like really caught that. I don't know, but like that would be something that I would think cops in the TL would turn their back to. Like especially in like East Oakland, that might be something that a cop drives by, unless it's a priority incident. Like it's not really taking them out of their.
It blew my mind, man. I had never seen nothing like that in my life, man. I mean, when I say I'd never seen nothing like that in my life, I couldn't even wrap my mind. But then I was just like, well, maybe this Mad Max area they call the Tenderloin is just so far gone. Right. It's like
somebody. The TL is crazy, man. It's one of those places where, there's a lot of fiends that get passes. And I think, I don't know, I'm a little disconnected with Frisco these days. Like I don't spend a lot of time out there. Okay. I spend more time in the East Bay than I do in SF, but the TL is always been the same. It's always been a landing place for that shit to go down. I actually stayed within we stayed in the Academy of Art dorm with some homies when I lived out there before I had officially moved to the East Bay. And right outside of our window, it was just like, we would see, hookers giving head. We would see, crack deals, crack smoke. It was just like, that was normal.
Yeah. That's
so salute to people who can live in the TL, because it's definitely it's wild, eventful out there.
I was chastised for my choice of hotels to just keep it 100% candy.
When you said a good hotel in the TL, I was like,
but no, it was a good hotel though.
No, there is.
I found the hotel I stayed in. I found it on the Airbnb, and the pictures are deceptive, man. Make you think you about to live in luxury. And then that's, you are like, is this the right place? Like, nah, I know what this is, man. This gotta be the Tenderloin. It gotta be. It's just, man, look. And at night, that place is, I'm telling you, it's a whole movie.
Hey, I wouldn't feel, I'm walking with 5 homeboys, I wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It felt like it was either Gotham City or.
I've seen some crazy fights in that neighborhood too. I seen some shit that was actually,
But they got you like this, Smooch. They got some good restaurants there though. They got
they got some decent, they got
100%.
But man, like during the day, like
the whole Bay Area, like
I don't like to look over my back, man. That's just something. I mean, man, not for no food. You know what I'm saying?
Frisco has changed so much, man. To like, we used to rock parties out there. We used to go out there to do the show. More shows were out there, so the East Bay folks would go to the city to rock. But nowadays, Oakland is the destination.
Yeah,
people used to scoff at Oakland, like Oakland was cutty. But nowadays, like a lot of people, as gentrified as Oakland is, like people from across the bridge came over to Oakland.
Yeah,
a lot of people from other places came to Oakland, but Oakland is it's still a cultural destination, and I call Oakland, the soul of the Bay. I feel like it's just something it's a special place, man.
Mhm.
And Frisco is, you know, it's a lot of tech money. It's a lot of fucking tech money, and you know, there's still dope shit out there, but Oakland is the place.
So with you and your job, you know what I'm saying, nonprofiting, getting back into live events, all this, that, and the third, where do you see the social progress going in the next 2 years? Like, okay, so we, you know, we were locked down, we went through that, then we opened back up, then we kind of were threatened that they might lock down again. People are going out now, though. I know that for sure. You know what I'm saying? Monkeypox and all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Monkeypox, you just get over COVID. Now you got to deal with monkeypox. So they say, you know, monkeypox, whatever. And being a DJ, you know, DJing in clubs, closed spaces, outdoors, whatever. Where do you see social interaction going in the next 2 years?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I hope it's better than the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to be optimistic in thinking that we'll get back to a place where, you know, people aren't scared to congregate and are not in fear of getting sick in public, because that's just not really a fucking cool way to live. But I feel like for my industry in terms of events and DJ culture, I feel like the outdoor, for what's been popping out here, especially over the summer in the Bay, has been the outdoor stuff. You know, like outdoor events, day parties. We just did like an outdoor festival. I feel like venues that have the outdoor capability are winning right now. So I don't know how that factors into the you know, progression of society and where we're at as, you know, as as humans, because I think there's a lot of shit wrong and there's a lot of things going on right now with the environment. There's things going on with, you know, injustice. There's things that really are fucked up, but I don't know, man. I'm optimistic that we're going to get back to a place where we can talk to each other again on the street and not be scared to do so. Right. Like that's what I hope for. Right. I hope for more social interaction, because as technology has gotten out of control, the social interaction has gotten, you know, more devolved. So I don't know. That's a philosophical question, man. I think we could get really deep on that shit, but I don't know. I just know that I feel like we're in a better place today than we were a couple years ago. And I hope we don't digress.
Where can people go to check you out? Give your socials, give your SoundCloud, your whole get down.
Word up. Instagram. So DJ Saurus. Instagram is where I post most of my show events, flyers, not only for Hip Hop for Change, but for my own brand, DJ Saurus, for my crew 45 sessions. I'm probably the most active on Instagram. SoundCloud, I do have a lot of stuff up there. That is also DJ Saurus, DJ Saurus. I have mixes. Mixcloud, I have mixes. SoundCloud, I have original beats, mixes, remixes, everything in between. I've been working on a project with a homie of mine named Ramesses called Color of Soul 2. It's like the first MC that I produced for. We dropped a record called Color of Soul. We're working on a follow-up to that. Also working on a mix called Cover Your Brass, which is a brass band cover mix that's gonna drop at some point. I don't know when. What else? We got this 45 sessions party we're throwing for as a part of High Road Day weekend, September 4th, with the crew. We got Master Ace hosting. We got the legendary Dante Ross joining us, Breakbeat Lou, Domino from Hieroglyphics, My company will be actually co-hosting Hyro Day main stage. Unlearn the World, who's the artist that I DJ and produce for, he's going to be on the main stage hosting. We'll also have a presence there. All of Hyro Day weekend is going to be crazy, but our party, the 45 Sessions Hyro Day party, is on Sunday, September 4th at 7th West in Oakland, which is an outdoor venue, day party, steez. We're going to have a lot of homies in the house. It's gonna be a pretty legendary day. The last one that we did, which was 2 years ago at in-person Hyro Day, we had Diamond D, Breakbeat Lou, Dante Ross, Festo from Hyro was there. Like, it's gonna be a who's who of hip hop culture in the Bay Area. A lot of homies in town, a lot of events. There's the Beat Culture event happening, Hyro Day itself, which is on Labor Day. And then, yeah, I got a couple residencies in the Bay. I do a party called Run the Town at Hello Stranger. I do a party called Future Shock at Emporium. I'm pretty active as a DJ and throwing events. So tap into my Instagram. That's the best place to find me.
What's up with you, Jeremy? What you got coming up?
Let's see. Okay, so the 25th. You know what? That's not important. Yeah, 25th, whatever. 25th, I'll be at La Jolla Comedy Store. That's San Diego, technically. And then the 28th, I'll be at this place called Catch One, hosting a spades tournament. I've never done it before.
You're gonna see some rowdy, you're gonna see some getting up, some slapping some cards down, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. So I always felt uncomfortable around my family when they play spades, so I can only imagine. Yeah, but yeah, that'd be crazy. And then
well, yeah, shoot me your info so I can tap in when I'm in LA. I'd love to come see a comedy set.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just followed you on IG, but yeah, we can connect.
Cool.
Need more info. But yeah, and I said the last thing is 30th, 31st, I'll be in Vegas at the LA Comedy Club. Not to be confused or whatever. That's at Stratosphere. So.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, no, man, I want to give you a shout out, Saurus. I really appreciate it, man. And once again, always cool to get up with Jeremy.
Yep.
You know, thanks for having me, y'all. Appreciate you.
Cool.
Yeah, man, you're great.
And thanks again for printing our slip mats, yo.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll be on tomorrow. All right. Another episode of Splendid Radio on Farside TV. Peace.